myself, I have been playing the Switch, and I've been playing a Japanese visual novel called, and I won this on yet another Twitter competition, a Japanese visual novel called Kotodama, The Seven Mysteries of Fujisawa. And basically, the game itself is a match-3 puzzler, in the classic sense of match-3 puzzlers. But the match-3 puzzlers are built into the narrative. So there's two things to talk about. One is the match-3 puzzles, but before that is the story. And the storytelling is told through, classic Japanese anime. The cutely drawn girls, muscular boys set in a high school. You're this new student who's turned up to this school in the middle of this high school year. And you have an invisible, to everybody else except yourself, an invisible black talking cat called Mon-chan, who sits on your shoulder but can just pop up and have a word with you. It turns out you find out later that this Mon-chan is a demon. And it's through this demon that this story is developing. It is incredibly linear. The story follows this path. At times, you get these multiple choice dialogue boxes coming up, and there's only one box. So you just click on the answer, and the story continues. And this is the one thing I didn't like too much, is the story is very, very text heavy. There's a lot of talking all the way through it. And it turns out these 7 mysteries of Fujisawa is the school itself, or where the school is. There are 7 chapters because there's 7 mysteries. And as you're working through the 7 mysteries, like the first one is the mystery of the white wolf. Well, it turns out that these mysteries aren't really mysterious. It turns out it's an abused white dog in the forest. And as you're working your way through, you get to the 5th mystery, and something happens. This mystery is called The Curse of Mikoto. It's an apparent suicide a year ago. So it takes slightly a darker tone. And then something happens and the end credits come up. It's like, halfway through. Then this other demon introduces himself and takes you right back to the beginning of the game, where you have to go through the entirety of the game again. At first, that was like, I got to do it all again. But as you go through the story again, your previous choices, when there are multiple dialogue boxes, sometimes there's 2, sometimes there's 3, not very often, but when there are, it highlights the choice you made last time, so you can choose the other one. And then you'll get to that position again on the 5th one, and you'll go back to the start again. There's no way you're going to make it through to the end of the game in 2 or 3 runs. It took me 12 hours to finish the game in total. And as you're going through, though, you notice that some of the multiple choice options are red. Now, if you choose that red one, something significant happens in the game, and it changes the mystery completely and turns the story into something else. And as you're working your way through these first 5 that you can, if you're selecting all those red dialogue boxes up until the 5th one, then you get to progress on to the 6th and 7th one. And I'm trying not to give too much of the story away, but by replaying, because the dialogue boxes come up, yes, you got to go through them all, but you can really tap fast on the screen and fly through these dialogue boxes you've seen before. So your first playthrough is a long slog. Your second playthrough, you just fly through it. You get to the dialogue boxes, you take the red routes and all that, and as you progress in the story, the 6th and 7th, the story becomes more intriguing, more deeper. Yes, there's lots of Japanese anime tropes, all the girls are cutesy, and the boys are, everything you've seen in Japanese anime, it's all there. But the story held me long enough to do multiple repeats after that initial disappointment of failing the first time, and to actually finish it. So the other part of the game is the match 3 puzzler. So it turns out that to make somebody tell the truth, because everybody's lying, it's a mystery, everybody's not telling the truth at some point. Mon-chan, that black demon cat on your shoulder, he instigates the match 3 puzzler called a Kotodama, using your Kotodama powers. And by winning this match 3 puzzle, you then extract the truth from that person, which gives you more story to push forward. The strange thing about it, though, is that as you're playing this match 3 puzzler, the mechanics in it, you match 3, you base, the way it works is there's like about a 12 by 12 grid of coloured balls all over the place. And as you touch one of the balls, it shoots up to the top of the column, and then everything else drops down, and then that's how you line them up. So there's no sliding around or anything, everything goes to the top. And as you link these together, you shoot happiness from this match 3 puzzler to the character. So I'd say about half the screen is this match 3 puzzler. On the other half is this visual representation of this cute girl. As you're shooting happiness, she starts making ecstatic noises.
Have you been playing this game in front of your wife?
No. When I'm playing it, I'm playing in handheld because it is a match 3 puzzle. It's easy to touch on the thing. And as she starts making these orgasmic noises, I am turning the volume down and just sliding around the corner to hide what's happening on the screen, thinking, I hope my son doesn't walk into the room at this current time. It was a little disconcerting, that's for sure. There's no nudity, but it's all, you start off with a fully clothed high school girl, and in the top right hand corner there's like a clock, and it's split into 4 segments, and as you go around a quarter of the clock they disrobe. So it's not just ecstatic noises, it's disrobing. So it starts off that they lose their skirt basically, and it's left in their shirt. The second, so you get halfway around the clock, they lose their shirt and they're in a petticoat. The third, so you're at 1:45 on the clock, they lose everything bar their underwear. And every time you meet the same person, they're wearing different underwear, regardless of whether it's the same day or not. And as you complete the puzzle, there's an orgasmic level of noise. There's screaming in delight, and they're completely naked, but it's cut so you can just see the top of their cleavage. Now, to make sure things didn't get too sexist when they're making it, you do this to the boys as well. So there are some boys in the game that you do this to, so they end up down to their boxer shorts, and one of the boys wears a thong, which is even more disconcerting. But the difference is that when you're sending happiness to these girls, they're really happy. When you're sending I'm trying not to be too vulgar. When you're sending the happiness to the boys, they sound like they're in pain. So there's a disjunct between boys and girls there, and what level of enjoyment they're getting out of this Kotodama. But even through this slightly embarrassing situation when I'm playing it, I enjoyed the story enough to finish it. Mm-hmm. And if you were loving the girls' underwear, they have various different modes where you can try out I think it's 4 different sets of underwear that the girls have you can select from. Amazing game. That's Japan for you.
Good stuff.
That's Kotodama, the 7 Mysteries of Fujisawa.
No wonder you were through it 5 or 6 times.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.